Okay. Bore da, croeso. Good morning and welcome to the Audit Committee on the 12th of December at 9:30 a.m. The first item on the agenda is apologies for absence.
Yes, we have apologies from Councillor Davis Cook, Councillor Coverley, Councillor Evans and Mike Whiteley from Audit Wales.
Thank you very much. Second item is declarations of interest. Do members have any declarations that they wish to mention? No? Okay, so we'll move on to item 3, which is notice of urgent matters. Not aware of any, Lisa, are we?
No.
Okay, jolly good. So we'll move on to item 4, which is the minutes of the meeting held on the 29th of July this year. I presume members have had a look at those minutes. If they are, members are happy, could I please have a proposer and seconder? Councillor Mark?
Propose, Chairs, yeah, happy to propose.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Mark Jones. Excellent, thank you. So if members are happy, could you please show by raising your hands? Okay, thank you very much. Are there any to the contrary? Any abstentions? No, I think that's a full house. So thank you very much. Those minutes have been approved. We will move on to item 5, which is matters arising. I'm not aware of any. Are there any, Lisa?
Not that I'm aware of.
No. Okay. So we'll now move on to item 6, which is the capital strategy and treasury management. Helen, are you presenting this?
Thank you, Chair. It's actually going to be David on this.
Okay, David.
Thank you.
Diolch Helen, diolch Cadeirydd. Dwi ddim am mynd drwy bob cam o'r adroddiad yma, achos mae elfennau yn fo'n byr dechnegol ar rhan yn efo gwybodaeth o ran commentary ar yr economi ac yn y blaen. Ond mi wna I atgoffa chi o y ddau reol, famous rules of investing yn gael nhw. Rule 1, don't lose money. Rule 2, refer back to Rule 1. Ac oedd Mark Twain wedi dweud a tebyg yn ôl panrif yn gynharach.
David, can I just pause you there, David? For the interpretation, members, you will have to click on the French button to get the interpretation. I do apologise. Technical issue, but
that explains it, because I'd raised my hand because I wasn't.
I was frantically clicking around then as well. So yeah, sorry, David, if you want to carry on.
Yeah, I'll rewind a bit. I won't go through. Oh, I don't Gymraeg one. Yeah, dwi'n mam cyflwyno bob darn o'r adroddiad yma, achos mae elfennau ond efo'n byr dechnegol ac elfennau eraill ar gwybodaeth o ran sylwedaeth ar yr economi. Ond mi wna I gyfeirio at rhywbeth sydd ddim yn yr adroddiad, sef dywediad gen Mark Twain, ac oedd o'n dweud, I'm more concerned about the return of my money than the return on my money. A dyn o Warren Buffett dweud bod tebyg, Rule 1, don't lose money. Rule 2, refer back to Rule 1. Ac yn hynny o beth, mae rhywun yn rhoi sicrwydd o ddychweliadau, o ddychwelyd y prifswm yn fwy na dychweliadau, llog a'r feisyliadau. A yn fama mae gennym ni ddau beth yn adrodd yn ôl ar ganol y flwyddyn a'r pledau ni o ran buddsoddi a benthyg eleni ac edrych ymlaen i'r flwyddyn ganlynol gyda strategaeth ar gyfer datganiad i safswm refeniw ac yn y blaen ar gyfer 23-24. Mae yna newyddion da, does na ddim colled arian a'r bwriad ydy cadw'r arian yn saff erbyn y flwyddyn wedyn. Mae yna derfyn awdurdodedig, mae hwnnw yn tabl 8 o'r adroddiad sydd yn atodiad 2 ac dwi'n credu bod y terfyn awdurdodedig benthyg a'r ffin weithredol yn resymol Mae'r swyddogion y ddwy Helen wedi cael arweiniad gen Arlyn Clos ar ffurf yr adroddiad yma, ac mae'r ffigurau yn cyd-fynd efo'r gyllideb ar gyfer y flwyddyn nesaf. Fe welwch chi bod na gynnydd mewn ambell i beth wrth symud ymlaen. Mae hynny'n anorfod a gawn ni fwy am hynny dan yr eitem ddilynol. Felly, am y tro, dwi'n gofyn i chi, fel mae rhan un o'r adroddiad yn ddeud, neu rhan 6, gofyn i chi jyst sylwi ar yr sefyllfa ganol blwyddyn, sydd ddim yn arswydus, cymeradwyo'r strategaeth ar gyfer y flwyddyn nesaf, ac argymell hynny i'r awdurdod yn Ionawr i fabwysiadu. Diolch, Cadeirydd.
Thank you, David. Members, do you have any questions? Councillor Mark?
Yeah, diolch yn fawr, David. Yeah. So I was going to ask, due to the size we are potentially, well, not potentially, requesting from the authorities and the size of the increase, do we feel that the audit committee we sit on should have a task and finish group just to look into a bit more depth on that issue? That's just a question for open debate, Chair. Happy for you to ask members any thoughts on that. I think it'd be prudent because of the size. So I just wanted the feeling of members on that, please. Diolch yn fawr.
I think that's maybe a question we can address in the following item. I think that we're on the Treasury Management at the moment. We'll get to the budget on the following item and get back to that suggestion. Councillor, I think that would be in order.
Yeah, diolch yn fawr. I understand that. I just want to get in there early, and I just think it's good for us to have that debate on that. Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you, Councillor Mark. Councillor Gwynfor.
Diolch yn fawr, Mr Cadeirydd, a diolch i Dafydd am yr adroddiad. Dwi'n chydig bach yn nyrfys fe hwn ac yn dilyn be oedd y cynghorydd Mark Young a dweud rwan hefyd. Dwi'n sbio ar argymellion hwn ac yn dweud cymeradwyo'r strategaeth cyfalaf a cymeradwyaeth. Os ydyn ni'n cymeradwyo hwn, a geith Dafydd gywir a fi, dwi'n siŵr, ydy hynny'n golygu bod da ni'n cymeradwyo'r hyn da ni'n gofyn i'r awdurdodau lleol gyfrannu ta yn yr eitem nesaf unig mae hynny'n codi?
Mae yna ffigurau sy'n gyson rhwng y ddau adroddiad. I ddeud y gwir, beryg dylan ni wedi cymryd yr eitem nesaf gyntaf a wedyn mynd i hwn. Ond na, da chi'n penderfynu ddim byd bore yma, ac mi gawn ni drafodaeth ar yr eitem nesaf. Os byddwch chi'n penderfynu newid yr arddull ar yr awdurdodau lleol erbyn yr awdurdod, mi fydd Helen wedi addasu'r ffigurau yn yr adroddiad yma, fydd yn mynd i'r awdurdod hefyd i briodi efo fo. Mae o'n tanlinellu'r pwysigrwydd bod ni yn cael pethau yn gyson ac trio cael y drafodaeth yn gynnar lle. Fydran ni'n gadael hwn tan y diwrnod, neu fydd yna waith rhyfanol i gael ei wneud ar y spot.
Iawn, diolch yn fawr. Wel, dwi'n dweud, fi'n dal felly nerfus fel sydd wedi bleidleisio ar hwn, oherwydd pethau pencareddol sa'n gallu achosi. A fel dwi'n dweud yn dilyn be oedd cynghorydd Mark Young yn dweud illa na'r wan ddylswn ni fod yn sbio ar hynny.
Yeah, I would agree, Councillor Gwynfor. Councillor Marion.
Thank you, Chair. I'm also extremely nervous endorsing anything today. We've yet to get the settlement from the Welsh Government. So I can't see how we can seriously look into endorsing anything. And as far as Flintshire is concerned, and I'm sure all your authorities are the same, we have an extortionately high deficit, and I don't think that I could endorse anything higher than the average settlement for Wales from the Welsh Government. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Marion. Well, I think, Helen?
Thank you, Chair. I just wonder if I might be able to provide some assurance to members of the Audit Committee in relation to this item. I think members have highlighted their concerns in respect of what they might be endorsing, but I think what it's important to reflect on is what this paper seeks to do. This paper isn't necessarily about approving a capital programme. What it's about is joining up those disparate elements, namely that the capital plan is approved as part of budget setting, and this paper is subject to that capital plan. It's about how do we finance it. If we finance it through borrowing, what is our treasury management strategy for doing that? So do we enter into fixed term loans, or do we enter into variable? Do we do short term or long term? So I think whilst all of the concerns of the members are entirely valid, I think it's important to recognise what the treasury management strategy seeks to do. It's about, subject to that plan being approved as part of budget setting, it's how do we then fund it, and what is our risk appetite in funding it through borrowing? How do we ensure that we've borrowed at the correct rates? How do we protect our investments? So where we have surplus cash, how do we manage that? So again, do we lend our surplus cash, or do we use safer deposits through banks? So I'm not in any way diminishing the concerns raised, because they are entirely valid, but I think it's recognising that the capital strategy is very much around managing all of those disparate elements, and indeed recognising those prudential indicators, which are the limits on our borrowings. So entirely valid comments raised, but probably probably worth picking up as part of the next item.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Helen. Councillor Mark?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just, I get the gist of what's just been said, but the recommendation, item 1, does say endorse.
Yeah.
So that's quite clear what that means to me. So I would, if we are going to, go into this, I just think we need to look at the wording as well.
Yeah.
That's
perhaps change that to note the capital and treasury management. Yeah.
Jochen Bow, yeah.
So would members be happy with the recommendation if recommendation 6.2 was changed to note? Would that make the members happy?
I think, Chair, if we say note in recommendation parts 2 and in the third part of the recommendation into 6, to say recommend approval of the strategy subject to discussions with local authority leaders, etc.
Okay, members, any comments on that?
Do you need a second in the proposer for that, Chair? Just so we get this.
We will do for any alterations.
Yeah. So happy with that wording.
Okay, so can we just have clarification on that? So it's to note the mid-year position of the Treasury management activities for 2022-23, to note the capital treasury management and MRP strategies for 23-24, and the next one is to recommend approval by the Fire Authority, Fire and Rescue Authority, subject to
ongoing discussions with council leaders, I would suggest.
Okay. Councillor Marion? Can you mute, please?
Sorry. Yes, it was just clarification on that last point. Would you mind just repeating what you said, please?
To recommend approval by the Fire and Rescue Authority, subject to, David, what was that? Subject to
ongoing discussions with local council leaders.
Okay, so are we leaving the decision to the council leaders on this final? That's the bit I'm not sure of. You're saying recommend approval subject to discussion. So in effect, are we leaving the decision to the council leaders?
The intention was to discuss this under the following item, but I'm sure you're aware that leaders have picked this up on Friday afternoon, and that they're anxious to discuss with us ways of reducing the budget's request, the levy.
Yeah.
So obviously we're not going to refuse that. We're going to have a discussion with them and look to any way we can reduce. That would be difficult to bring it down to what you suggested was the level of the settlements, although we don't know the level of the local government settlement yet. But no, it's not giving the decision to the council leaders. It's having a discussion with them and coming back to you and your fellow members in full authority meeting in January for the decision. But we will take cognizance of what they say, and we may amend some figures in the budget report, and some of these figures may need to be amended accordingly as well.
Right.
David, would there be an issue of actually leaving 6.3 off?
Yeah. I would endorse that, thank you. Leaving it off, I mean.
Yeah. David, what's your thoughts on that?
It's your decision, but happy for you to do that. It's as long as we can bring something back to the authority and it doesn't prevent us bringing it back. So yeah, that would be a way forward. Okay, Councillor Austin.
Diolch yn fawr, Mr Cadeirydd. Ga I ddechrau drwy ymddiheuro i'r siaradwyr Cymraeg, but I'm now going to turn into the English because as I can hear the translator, so it'll be easier for me now to speak in English. So my apologies to my fellow Welsh speakers. Would it be possible, therefore, to defer this? I've also had a conversation with the leader of Conwy County Council, and yes, they feel it's imperative that the authority has discussions with the leader of the 6 North Wales authorities before any decision is made. Yeah. So I don't know if a deferral would be a suitable way forward. That's just a suggestion. Yeah. Also, may I apologise for keeping my camera off, but the connection this morning is very, very shaky.
Austin. Well, I think if we look to move the recommendations 1 as noted and recommendation 2 as noted and remove recommendation 3, I think that may be a way forward there, Austin. Councillor Marion, still got your hand up? Some more input, is it?
I'm very sorry, I didn't take it down last time. Sorry.
Okay. What do members think about just accepting recommendation 1 and 2 as both noted? Would that be a way forward? Councillor Tina?
Yeah, I think we have to bear in mind with this that the Welsh local government settlement is on Wednesday.
Yes.
So that's when we will have a lot more information. And so I think the deferral proposal is a useful one, because at least we will have enough information to at least have a grounding on that.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Tina. David?
Yeah, again, eto, Cadeirydd, dwi'n meddwl bod y gair gohirio wedi dod I fyny gen yr arweinyddion. Dwi'n credu bod o'n ymarferol I ni ohirio penderfyniad sydd I fod ar yr 11 ar 15 o Ionawr. Mae rhaid I ni wneud penderfyniad ar y gyllideb adag hynny. A mae'n debyg efo'r gwyliau'n dod I fyny bod ymgynnull eto yn y cyfamsar rhwng rwan a canol Ionawr ddim am fod yn ymarferol chwaith. Wedyn, dwi'n credu bod ni angen gohirio, achos dwi'n meddwl bod o'n glir bellach be fyddai'n siarad am ydy'r gyllideb yr eitem nesaf ddim hon. Dwi'n siŵr fedrwch chi gymeradwyo'r eitem hon efo'r 2 ran gyntaf o'r argymhelliad. Efo'r gyllideb, does am angen gohirio achos dim ond wneud argymhelliad i'r awdurdod ydan ni heddiw beth bynnag. Ac mae'r gohirio am fod yn amhosib i bob pwrpas ac yn ddiangen. Mi allwch chi drafod yn fwy ar y gyllideb yn yr eitem nesaf, ond am hon, swn i'n gofyn i chi nodi fel da chi'n argymell yn yr ddau gymal cyntaf o'r argymhelliad.
Yeah, I would agree, David. So members, I think with the recommendation 6, if we just took the first 2 items on that, that is to note the midterm position of the Treasury management activities for 22-23. And then item 2 is to endorse the capital treasury management, is to note the capital treasury management and MRP strategies. We're not actually agreeing to anything, we're just noting those. And then to remove item 3 from that, remove the recommendation. Would members be happy with that as a way forward? So we can look at the next item.
I think that makes sense, Chair. I'm happy with that approach.
Are you happy to propose that then, Councillor Mark?
I am, yes. Okay,
so we need a seconder for that, for that. Councillor Gwynfor, thank you very much. So we've got a proposer and a seconder that we note both 6.1 and 6.2, and that 6.3 is removed. If members are happy with that, could you please show by raising your hand? Okay, any to the contrary? And any abstentions? 1. Have we got numbers, Gareth?
So I made that 4 for the proposition, Chair, and 3 abstentions.
Okay.
It's carried.
All right, thank you very much, Gareth. Then we will then move on to the next item, which is item 5, is it? Sorry. The Audit Committee has been tasked to ensure the effective scrutiny of the Treasury management strategies and policies based upon its findings and make recommendations to the Fire Authority. Don't understand why that's not in order. 5, background. Oh, well. So this is most confusing. Am I looking at the wrong item here? I do apologise.
Chair, we're on agenda item 7.
Sorry, yeah, I was looking on the wrong page and I do apologise. Item 7 is the medium-term financial strategies 23 to 26 and the budget for 23-24. I do apologise, members. Trying to do this all on an iPad. Okay, who's taking item 7, please?
Diolch, Chair. If I can lead on this one, and David's going to come in after. Apologies. I think with the value of hindsight, I think what's evident this morning is that perhaps this agenda item might well have been better coming ahead of the Treasury management, but we are as we are. What this item relates to is the authority's medium-term financial plan. That covers the period the 1st of April 2023 through to the 31st of March 2026. What it also does is provides the proposed revenue and capital budgets for 2023-24. I think by way of background for members, you will recall that the approval of the budget and the medium-term financial plan are reserved matters for the full Fire and Rescue Authority. That means that they can't be delegated to officers, although we clearly have a role to play in terms of building up the budget. And therefore today, you're not being asked to approve the budget, but to note the approach and endorse that it progresses through to the full Fire Authority meeting in January 2023. The paper in the pack today builds on the budget paper that was approved by the authority at its meeting in October. And that was the budget planning paper. And that confirmed that the budget planning would be predicated on the existing service delivery models, that the priorities would include those identified by the Chief Fire Officer in her situational assessment back in September 2021. And just to confirm what those were, That was that we would focus on availability and making sure that we had that operational response across North Wales, that we would focus on the training for our operational staff, making sure that we address all of the health and safety matters, and also that we would build that corporate capacity that was so important during that COVID outbreak. Within the paper in October, the key risks were also included, and it was noted at that time that pay inflation was a significant challenge, as the pay settlements were outstanding for 2022-23 and also 23-24. In addition to that, we've noted significant inflationary pressures, supply chain difficulties, and the cost of living crisis. So we are equally facing challenges in relation to our energy costs. Members, I'm sure, will note that the challenges being faced by the authority are wholly consistent with other public sector and private sector businesses, as well as individuals, as that cost of living crisis deepens. And the paper within the agenda pack today provides both the medium-term financial plan and the budget. And this is the culmination of about 3 months of planning internally within the service by my colleagues on the service leadership team. I have there's quite a lot of detail within the report, but I have a short presentation I'm happy to share with members. So you're going to have to bear with me whilst I share my screen. Share screen, apologies. If somebody could just confirm when they can see it.
We can indeed. Thank you, Helen.
Yeah, lovely. And there we go. Thank you. So in the report today, a lot of these figures are contained within the report, but I thought it would be really helpful for members if we had a little bit of extra detail. So the plan for 2022-23 was approved last year, included a base budget of 39.4 million. And I think it's worth considering that at that time, the planning assumptions were that we would have a 2% pay inflation, and the general inflation would be below 4%. And you will recall that the budget was set on the back of the COVID restrictions being lifted, and it was assumed that the COVID impact would reduce, and that at that time we were assuming a degree of normality would return. It's also worth noting that traditionally the fire budget is set and approved ahead of the local authority budgets. And the important factor there is it allows time for our figures to be built into the planning assumptions by local authority colleagues. Since that time, the global position has deteriorated markedly with unrest in Ukraine, ongoing supply chain issues, high levels of inflation, increases in interest rates, and an energy crisis. And I think overall the position is very, very challenging. Importantly for the authority, the planning assumption for 2022, that situation has deteriorated. Pay inflation has come in at much higher than the 2% that we budgeted for. Certainly we've managed to settle the local government pay award. That was settled at a flat rate of 1,925, which for us equated to about 6%. And the pay inflation for firefighters is still not yet concluded. What I hope to be able to do today is build on this and provide further insight into those challenges that we're facing. But in overall terms, the initial planning assessment is that the budget increase for 2022-23-24 would be 5.3 million, which builds the base budget up to 44.7. The provision of fire cover, prevention and protection activities spans all of our communities, and therefore it's important to me that you have that visibility of the cost per head of population. The proposed budget of 44.7 million is a cost of £63.59 per head of population. And this is levied across each authority by its population size. And as you will see there, that does represent an increase of 13.5%, which is built up of all of the challenges that we're facing. I think it's worth taking a moment to work through the planning assumptions that we've used. So the existing service delivery model, the priorities identified by the Chief Fire Officer, but worth noting that as those pay awards are still outstanding for firefighters, we've had to make an estimate of how they might settle. So the budget for 23-24 assumes that the current offer, of 5% is the final settlement. Members will be aware that firefighters are currently out to ballot on strike action, having rejected that 5%. In addition to that, we've had to make an assessment and assumption for the pay award for 2023-4, and the current working assumption is that 5%, a pay award of 5% for all staff. Our medium-term financial plan last year assumed 2%. We've also included the increase in our energy costs, and that's given us a cost pressure of just under £1 million. And we've worked through the non-pay, and currently we have non-pay of about 13 million, and that's had to be based on best estimate, but those inflationary risks still exist. Worth noting as well that we haven't made any specific provision for our environmental projects. We're still working towards that carbon neutral target of 2030, but what we've had to do is we recognise that all of our procurement now specifically considers the environmental impact. We know that the increase is very significant, and we thought it would be helpful for members to see how that increase has been built up. So you can see the base budget here of 39.4 million, and the first call on our budget is always pay. Over 70% of our spend is pay. So under normal conditions, if the medium-term financial plan had held true, we would be looking at a cost increase of about £500,000. But the impact of both the pay award in 2022-23 and the increase above the medium-term financial plan in 23-24 has increased cost pressure of 1.7 million. As part of the Chief Fire Officer's situational assessment, it was identified that our training provision was currently inadequate. And I think that reflects the complexity of the operational role. And consequently, we've put additional provision in there of 350,000. And that's twofold, is to increase the capacity both within the training department to deliver courses, but it's also to provide additional days for our retained personnel to be able to access the training that's so essential to their role. In common with most organisations now, that operational resilience was tested to the limit during COVID, and we've put an additional 520,000 in the budget. That operational resilience is twofold. It's firstly to build that capacity within our retained personnel to ensure that the availability of fire response is present across North Wales. And it's also recognising that it takes about 18 months to develop a firefighter. The age profile of our whole-time staff means that we're experiencing high levels of retirement, and therefore it is necessary to build that capacity by recruiting at this stage. The corporate resilience and capacity is increasing by £100,000, or is proposed to, and that really recognises the fact that we've got significant challenges both in respect of health and safety, procurement, environmental challenges. Similarly, business fire safety, the changes to the regulations have created a cost pressure of £100,000. You'd be familiar with those regulations changing following the Grenfell disaster. Members will recall from the paper that went to the full fire authority in October that our energy contract was renewed during this year. That's given rise to a cost pressure of £900,000. Similarly, this time last year, the interest rates were at about 1%, and the current rates are about 5.2%. So the interest rate increases this year are of the order of £600,000. In addition, it's necessary to look at the long-term provision of training. Our training capacity within our Dolgellau site is end of life, and therefore we need to look at the training provision. The ambition is high, is to develop a dedicated training centre And the capital charges proposed for next year relate to the purchase of land. Then the final item relates to inflationary pressures that we're experiencing across all of our pay. So the impact of that is to bring the proposed budget up to £44.7 million. The revenue is only one side of it, and the long-term sustainability of the authority and the service requires that we maintain that investment not only in our land and buildings, but also in our fire appliances. So the capital budget proposal for next year is 6.5 million, with a rollover of deferred schemes from this year, bringing a total up to 6.9. The major element of that relates to the command and control system, and that's proposed that we spend 600,000 next year and 500,000 the year after. And that is about mobilising our fire appliances. It's about being able to take the calls, mobilise and ensure that we can respond as necessary. There is an item of £3 million, and that relates to a land purchase for a new training centre. This will be subject to separate approval by the full fire authority, and at this stage it's noting that is a proposal, and you at this point would not be approving it. The fire appliance replacement, we have a programme of replacement. Our fire appliances last for about 15 years, and this is part of a normal replacement programme. Similarly, multi-purpose station vans ensures that we can actually respond not only in relation to the operational incidents, but also prevention and protection work. Specialist vehicles relates to a welfare unit, and that's recognising that our staff very often spend long periods of time on the mountainside during spate conditions, or indeed at industrial fires, and there is no welfare provision. Similarly, you will see that the training tower replacement is included, and that will relate to the replacement of 2 training towers. And then finally, the building works, the minor works of 800,000, and that is very much around maintaining our property base. And then the final slide is that recognition of the contributions that our constituent local authorities make. So as you can see there, the previous contributions are included, making 39.4 million. The population of North Wales is just over 704,000, and therefore the increase. So that increase is broken down across each of the constituent authorities and is based on the population size. So I'm very happy to take any questions on the budget, and I don't know if David wants to say anything ahead of that.
David?
Yeah, ga I ofyn i Helen barhau I rannu'r slides. Can you put the slides back up and go to slide 5, Helen, please? Mae'n haws weithiau I gyfeirio at y lluniau wrth siarad. Slide 5, dwi'n meddwl oedd o. Mae hwnna di'r symudiad o un blwyddyn i'r llall. Mae o hefyd yn yr adroddiad oedd ar y rhaglen yn rhan 14 o'r adroddiad. Wedyn mae hwn gan bawb ers wsos dwytha. Da ni hefyd wedi trafod hwn mewn gweithdy ag cyfarfod blaenorol o'r awdurdod yn ei ffurf drafft. A beth sy'n amlwg I mi, os da chi'n sbio ar fanna, beth yw'r ffigurau mawr rhwng sefyllfa eleni a flwyddyn nesa yn y top ar gwylod. Beth yw'r ffigurau mawr ydy'r chwyddiant, a maen nhw'n ffaith. Mae'r ddau gyntaf sydd yn 2.2 miliwn rhwngthyn nhw. Mae heini ynglyn â cyfloga sydd ddim yn grym ni I ddylanwadu ar yr paid deals mae'r staff yn gael. Naill ai y firefighters na'r staff sydd ar dilera Llywodraeth Leol. Mae'r cynnydd yna yn genedlaethol ac yn rhywbeth da ni'n gorfod dygymod yno. Hwna di'r ffigwr anferthol yn y twf. Os da chi'n mynd lawr i'r ffigurau mwyaf wedyn, yr costau ynni bron i 900,000 3/4 ffordd lawr Tabl, a cynnydd yn y gyfradd llog, a'r chwyddiant arall ar y gwylod bron yn 400,000. Da ni gyd yn gwybod bod chwyddiant i fyny, da ni gyd yn gwybod bod llog i fyny, mae costa tanwydd a gynnig yn llawer uwch nag oedden nhw. Ac mae rhaid i ni osod cyllideb sy'n gytbwys efo'r gofynion rheini. Os da chi'n derbyn bod hynna'n ffaith, mae'r cyfanswm o'r bethau eraill sydd yna ar ddisgresiwn yn flaenoraethau ychad a chi ar arweinyddion yr gwasanaeth wedi rhoi yn flaenoriaeth, sef yr hyfforddiant a'r gwydnwch. Ac mae am fod yn anodd iawn i newid unrhyw un o hyn. Da ni gyd, if you go on now to the final slide, Helen, mae'r cynnydd i'r awdurdodau lleol yn fama, mae o'n amrywio efo'r, if you can go to slide 8, Helen. Mae yn amrywio efo'r boblogaeth sydd eto yn ffaith felly. Mae'r gwahaniaeth rhwng Ynys Môn a Gwynedd yn y top na, oherwydd bod poblogaeth Gwynedd yn gymharol wedi codi yn y flwyddyn dwytha. A mae hynny'n ffaith da ni'n dygymod o'n fo. Yn yr un modd mae poblogaeth Flint wedi cynyddu'n fwy na'r 5 sir arall. Wedyn, mae'r cynnydd yna, tua 13.5% ydy'r cyfartaledd o gynnydd, ond mae o'n fwy i rei nag eraill. Wedyn os da chi am edrych ar bethau eto, dim ond rhai pethau fel o'n i'n dweud ar slide 5 sydd â disgresiwn iddyn nhw, mi fyddai'n anodd iawn twtsio'r pethau sydd yn ffaith, sef chwyddiant. Ond dwi'n meddwl bod o'n deg, you can stop sharing now perhaps, Alan. Dwi'n meddwl bod o'n deg deud bod ni wedi cael yr e-bost ar ran yr arweinyddion ac bod na gryn anfodlonrwydd allan yn eu mysg nhw. Be sydd heb ddigwydd, mae'n debyg, ydy bod ni heb gael cyfle i egluro i arweinyddion y 6 cyngor pam bod y cynnydd yma lle. Mae'r awdurdod tân yn gofod wneud i gyllideb cyn yr awdurdodau lleol. Byddwn ni'n neud o ganol Ionawr tro yma, yr un fath llynadd. Os da chi'n cofio, fel cynghorwyr, os ydych chi ar y cyngor blwyddyn dwytha, mi oedd y ddarpariaeth ar gyfer chwyddiant ar i bob cyngor gael setliad. Mae'n debyg y setliad mwyaf decent oedden ni wedi gael ers rhai blynyddoedd llynedd. A nathon ni roi mwy o ddarpariaeth i fewn ar gyfer chwyddiant oherwydd newidiadau byd eang yn ystod Ionawr a Chwefror. Ni'n ffeindio bod y rhyfel yn Irac yn esgalatio ac o'n effaith syth bin adeg hynny ar bris hynny a tanwydd. O'n effaith hefyd o chwyddiant cyffredinol oherwydd hynny a mi roedd bob cyngor, dwi'n meddwl, darpariaeth ychwanegol i fewn ar gyfer chwyddiant tal yn rhagweld y chwyddiant hynny. Mi oedd yna rhywfaint o hyblogrwydd i wneud hynny, ond doedd yr luxury yna ddim gen yr awdurdod tân, achos oedden ni fel awdurdod wedi wneud y penderfyniad yn gynharach. Oedden ni wedi trafod yn Rhagfyr a wneud penderfyniad yn Ionawr cyn y datblygiadau hynny ar ddechrau'r flwyddyn. Wedyn, da ni rwan yn byw efo'r double whammy na o chwyddiant tal a chwyddiant arall yn enwedig efo hynny sydd wedi digwydd yn ystod eleni ag ar gyfer y flwyddyn nesaf. A dyna pam mae'r twf mawr yna. Ac mae lot yn anochel. Mae'r arweinyddion wedi gofyn i ni ohirio. Gohirio ddim yn opsiwn o ran y penderfyniad yn Ionawr, oherwydd mae rhaid i ni osod ardoll a mae rhaid i'r cynghora wedyn osod hwnnw yn gyllidebau ar awdurdodau. Mae gennym ni deadline cynharach na'r cynghora. O edrych ar yr amserlen rhwng rwan a canol Ionawr, diolch am fod yn ymarferol i ni fod yn cynnal ail gynnal y cyfarfod yma a cyfarfod Pwyllgor Gweithredol. Felly, fel ydych chi'n sôn yn yr eitem blaenorol, dwi'n credu bydd angen i chi yn hytrach na argymell hwn bosib i nodi fo eto. Mae lot o'r aelodau sydd wedi siarad yn yr eitem cynt mewn gwirionedd yn cyfeirio at y drafodaeth yma a'r cynnydd yna sydd yn tabl o dan paragraff 14 a'r cynnydd yn yr ardal sy'n deillio o hynny. Wedyn, dwi'n meddwl mi edrwch chi eto efo'r argymhelliad yn fama fod yn nodi yn hytrach na cymeradwyo ac yn nodi mi fyddwn ni yn trafod. Dwi wedi trafod efo rhai o'r prif weithredwyr ddoe ar ran yr arweinyddion ac maen nhw yn dallt ddown ni byth lawr i lefel yr cynnydd yn yr grant i'r awdurdodau lleol. Ond maen nhw wedi cael braw efo'r canran o gynnydd ac yn gofyn i edrych eto ar hynny. A dwi'n meddwl bod y mond yn deg i ni gael y trafodaeth hynny hefo nhw ac egluro'r sefyllfa iddyn nhw. Mae hynny yn rhoi ni mewn sefyllfa chydig bach yn anodd heddiw, lle oedden ni wedi gobeithio cael argymhelliad gynnwch chi, ond ar hyn o bryd dwi'n meddwl rhyw fath ar eitem blaenorol, dwi'n meddwl fedra ni gyfaddawdi a chael nodi yn hytrach nag argymell ac bod ni yn cynnal y drafodaeth yna efo rhai o'r prif weithredwyr ac arweinyddion y cynghorau ac yn nodi beth sy'n ger bron heddiw a bosib bydd hynny'n cael ei addasu rhywfaint cyn cael ei gynnig i chi eto yn Ionawr. Mae adael i yn fanna, Cadeirydd.
Thank you, David. Yeah, I totally agree. You know, we have leaders, cabinet members and strategic directors for finance going through every line of our spend in Conway, not just next year, but also now looking at deferring or halting projects. It's a dire situation. Councillor Mark Young.
Diolch yn fawr, Chair, and diolch yn fawr, David. And this isn't easy, and I just want to confirm I've definitely got my regional hat on, so officers can be absolutely comfortable. But I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear, maybe. And I think we're going to have to work, and it sounds like we are going to need a plan B. And I'm happy to meet again as an audit committee member if needed. And I know the timings are tight, but I don't want to row in January. I want to sort it before then. And that's my role on, on the authority. I want to understand the figures. Yes, these are ongoing chats with the leaders of the council, but it is our decision at the end. We're going to have to endorse or not endorse. So I would rather us meet before the January meeting. We'll know where we are overall. But I don't think in its present format, this is going to get through. So I think we have to start working on the plan B. That's the reality. If that changes, and I doubt it, but I am happy to meet before the January meeting where we have to make this decision. I don't want to go to that meeting without having a chance to have a discussion with officers on what proposals and options we have. The costs are there. Some of them we can't avoid. Some of them could be. So I think members should have that chat and the opportunity for that. Diolch yn fawr, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mark Young. Councillor Mark Jones.
Dwi'n stryglo i weld sut faint mor wahanol fysa plan B i'r plan A mewn ffordd. Dwi'n meddwl bod Dafydd wedi gosod allan y ffaith yn eitha clir bod na lot o'r pethau yma tu hwnt i'n gallu ni i newid pethau. Felly dwi ddim yn hapus efo gweld y cynnydd mawr yma sy'n mynd i fod yn y cyfraniad o'r siroedd, ond yn bersonol dwi ddim yn gweld bod yna lot o newid yn mynd i fod os da ni'n trio dyfynu fo plan B. Diolch.
Thank you, Councillor Mark. Councillor Brian Aspley.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'm on similar lines to Councillor Mark Young. I would be happy to meet again if that time give us the opportunity to discuss different issues. On the actual contributions expected of the different authorities, it's not my decision of what the final figure will be, but looking at Gwynedd, Conway and Flintshire, each of those three are near enough 12% additional. I mean, and the others, I think Wrexham is the lowest at 11.65, but obviously a lot of money. When we look at inflation figures, and I know it's not science to do this, but if we look at the overall inflation figures from March 2022 through to April 2022 to March 2023, hopefully the average of the increases will not make the figures shown in that on that slide. Of course, we could have another calamity, chaos, whatever, but I'm sure that with goodwill, the council leaders and officers of the fire authority can come to some compromise. It won't be a good news whether we get a compromise, obviously, because David mentioned that things out of our control. Most of what's going on at the moment is out of our control. So, but I would welcome and support Councillor Young's suggestion that we do fit in a meeting specifically on this item. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Bryan. Yeah, I would agree. Councillor Gwynfor Owen.
Diolch yn fawr, Mr Cadeirydd. Diolch i Dafydd a Helen am yr adroddiad, wrth gwrs, ac y beth sy'n drist yn hyn i gyd, wrth gwrs, ydy da ni gyd yn cytuno a bob dim bron a Dafydd yn dweud, felly, ac yn gweld o'n drist bod da ni yn gor'o edrych mor ofalus ar hyn, ond da ni hefyd yn sylweddoli bod da ni gyd yma yn cynrychioli etholwyr y gogledd ac eisiau y gorau iddyn nhw i gyd o'r hyn sy'n digwydd yma. Mae jyst wneud rwy'n feddwl, wrth gwrs, yn ôl i 2016 pen yna referendwm ar Ewrop, na cael gwarad o'r haen anghywir o Lywodraeth, nathon ni'n dilyn y siambl sydd wedi bod yn San Steffan, honnod i'r haen sydd wedi achosi llawer iawn o'r problemau da ni gwynebu yma heddiw, ac efallai sydd wedi bod y well cael gwarad o'r haen yno. Ond yn dweud hynny, dwi yn cefnogi'r hyn mae Cynghorydd Young yn dweud a Cynghorydd Apsley wedyn. Cynghorydd Apsley'n sôn, wrth gwrs, da ni'n gwybod os oes yna rhyw lanast arall yn mynd i ddigwydd efo'r criw na sy'n yn San Steffan ar y funud. Mae'n siawn straight dda bydd y lanast arall yn digwydd cyn hynny. Ond ar y llaw arall, dwi yn teimlo ella na'r peth gorau i wneud ydy hyd yn oed os oes efo mond chydig ddyddiau cyn cyfarfod yr awdurdod tân llawn, bod yda ni yn cael cyfarfod arall o'r panel yma i drafod y mater a mwyn i ni gael wneud argymhelliad i'r awdurdod ei hun. Diolch yn fawr.
Thank you, Councillor Gwynfor. Yeah, I think it's very important that we have confidence in the decisions that we are making are correct. So I too would like another meeting. Councillor John Brynmore Hughes.
Fawr, Cadeirydd, a diolch am yr adroddiad heddiw. Dwi'n cytuno efo Cynghorydd Mark Jones o fanna, plan B. Da ni mewn sefyllfa, fel mae Dafydd wedi dweud, dio ddim byd i wneud efo ni, ond eto, swn i'n gwerthfawrogi fe mae Cynghorydd Mark Young wedi dweud, a os da ni'n cael pwyllgor, byddwn ni wedi cael bodlon arfer o beth o bydd efo. A fyswn i'n hefyd yn licio, fos a bob dim wedi cael ei sortio allan dwi'n mynd i ffwrdd yn Chwefror ganol Chwefror dan ganol mis Mawrth i weld fy merch, a wedyn swn i'n falch sa ni'n cael gyfarfod, swn i digon bod am ddod iddo fo. Diolch. Ond diolch i Dafydd a diolch i Helen am y adroddiad.
Chair, can I just clarify, please?
Yes, sure, Mark.
Yeah. So just clarification. We might not end up with a plan B, but the point is the debate and the discussion and delving into the figures. So I just want to make sure that I'm not saying it's got to be a plan B, but we need to have an open mind when we meet.
Indeed, most definitely. Thank you, Councillor Mark. I did have Councillor Marion.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I absolutely agree with all that's been said. And the provision from Welsh Government, I know, is coming through on Wednesday, but I think that's going to take a while to siphon through and to find exactly, because nothing is ever clear when these announcements are made. So I would even make myself available after eating my turkey on Christmas Day, if need be. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's very important that we do get together and look at this. But I would urge officers to, we need to go through this line by line. Any savings that we can make will help all the constituent councils in North Wales. And I think as an audit committee, it's our duty to do that. We don't have any. Oh, Dawn, you got your hand up. Sorry, yes. I didn't see it hiding in the corner there. Do apologise. Okay.
No, that's fine. Appreciate members' concerns, and I want to thank Helen and David for all their work that they have done around this. I agree that there's still further information that we need to receive. In fact, at the end of today, I have been summoned to a meeting with Welsh Government. I suspect they're not going to tell me that our grants are going to be increased. I think they are going to tell me that they are going to be reduced, and we'll need to factor that into any future budget. So I think certainly the consensus seems to be that the offer of an additional meeting to be able to work through those budget lines would certainly be acceptable to ourselves as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Chief, for that. Members, so we had the recommendation, but it is proposed that we just note these for now. Would members be happy with that?
Do we need to, just Chair, do we need to commit to the meeting we're all talking about as part of that, or deal with that separately?
Well, I think it's urgent. It's a necessity that we urgently meet as soon as practicable, as they say. So I'd be happy to add that as a recommendation. Just need a proposer. Councillor Marion.
Sorry, Chair, jumping in at the last minute again, but are we noting the report with the added assumption that we are meeting again and not endorsing anything at all?
Correct. It's not to endorse anything.
No, I know we're noting, but can we just note, because we want to meet it, or put some meat on the bone to noting? Because sometimes noting is taken as agreeing.
Okay, so the recommendation is to note the capital revenue budget for 23-24 based on an increase in contributions from constituent authorities of 5.32, which is subject to debate at a further meeting, hopefully in January. To note the key risks and uncertainties identified during the budget and planning process, to note the medium-term financial strategies, to note that it has to be approved by the fire authority by the meeting of the 17th of January. So pretty quickly we're going to have to be getting together to look at this, and to note in this paper are consistent with the budget setting approach outlined by the Fire Authority meeting held on the 17th of October 2022, including the associated risk and uncertainties, And 7 is that members induction and planning meeting held on the 13th of June and the 16th of October provided an overview of the service delivery model and associated challenges being faced by the authority. I think that's pretty much sums it up, Councillor Marion. David?
Yeah, just wrth basio, a ni'n sylwi bod y 17th of January fyna, wel 16th na'r cyfarfod. Just to bod yn...
Okay. That's an error in the paperwork then.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. So if members are happy at noting those and the need for an urgent meeting prior to the authorities meeting on the 17th of January, I need a proposer. Councillor Mark Young, are you proposing that?
I am, yes. Thank you, Chair. Jochen Bow.
Okay, and Councillor Brian Espy is seconding. If members are happy with that, could you please show by raising your hands? And are there any to the contrary? And any abstentions? No. Okay, I think that's been approved. Thank you, members. So we'll now move on to item 8, which is the Audit Improvement Plan 2022 and 2023. And this is being presented by Stuart Forshaw.
Thank you, Chair. Honourable members, and good morning. The purpose of this report is to confirm to members the outcome of external audit which was conducted by Audit Wales of the authority's 22-23 improvement measures as required by the local government measure. A bit of background on this is that all fire and rescue authorities in Wales are required to publish improvement objectives in accordance with the local government measures and the well-being and objectives in compliance with the Well-being of Future Generations Act. And for the purpose of the authority's planning processes, these are treated as one and the same. The local government measures require the authority to make arrangements to secure continuous improvement in the exercise of its functions, make arrangements to secure the achievement of its improvement objectives, and make arrangements to exercise its functions so that any performance standards specified by the Welsh ministers are met. The Corporate Plan 21 to 24 sets out the authority's objectives and it was approved by members at the meeting of the 14th of March 2022. The Corporate Plan 21 to 24 is subject to audit review by Audit Wales, who is required to confirm whether the authority has discharged its responsibilities in respect of the improvement measures. The audit letter, which is attached as Appendix 1, confirms that Audit Wales has concluded its work on our Corporate Plan 21-24 and is satisfied that the authority has discharged its responsibilities. So the recommendation is that members note the audit letter, which is attached, which confirms that the authority has discharged its responsibilities under the Local Government Measure 2009. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Stuart, thanks to you and the team for the excellent work that you've done, and the report here from Audit. Members, I'll open it up to the floor. Are there any comments? No. Okay, so I'm looking for a proposer. This needs to be noted. Is there a proposer? Councillor John Brinmore. Thank you. And Councillor, we've got another hand up there. Councillor Tina. Are you seconding? Yeah, thank you. If members are happy, could you please show by raising your hands? Are there any to the contrary? Any abstentions? Okay. Councillor Mark?
No, I'm endorsing, sorry.
All right, sorry. Okay, thank you. Well, that's been approved by the members that is noted. We will now move on to the next item, which is, let me find my page, I've lost it. Do apologise. Which is urgent matters, item 9.
They're on to me, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. So part 2 is the recommendation of.
So we need a resolution, Chair, just to move into closed session.
Yeah, indeed. let's move into closed session. Do we have a proposer? Councillor Gwynfor? Councillor Marion? Members are happy to move into closed session. Could you please raise your hands? Thank you. I think that's pretty much done.